All the Ways and Means meeting to order. If you mind closing that door, close that door there. Thank you very much. Enjoy the close quarters here. They plan on a big crowd at public safety arguing about Airbnb, so that's why we're scrunched in here. All right. Take your roll.
Chairman Volner,
Present.
Alderwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Moore,
Here.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Howard,
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy, Alderwoman Boyd,
Here.
Alderman Muhammad. You have 6 present, Mr. Chairman.
6 present, we have a quorum. Typically, we go by seniority by members that are not on the committee. I don't see Alderman Roddy here, so we'll put his bills to the side, which regards to Alderman Coatar for Board Bill 175.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I believe there's a committee substitute for Board Bill 175. If the clerk or our council could hand that out. I'll talk about it because the committee sub doesn't do a ton, it doesn't change much.
But I'd like to make a motion that we put the committee sub in front of
I
us.
will entertain a motion.
Second.
I made that motion. Okay. Now we can talk about it.
Okay,
Although I don't have it.
it's getting passed around.
As soon as we have it, I was just waiting for it to be handed out.
I'll
Make sure it
speak,
truly exists.
I'll speak generally about these because, about what 175 and its committee sub do. It's basically just a 10-year renewal of the lease agreement for the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections, as you all know, is at just up the street at 300 North Tucker. They're in the first, they occupy the first floor, I guess that's the second floor, the mezzanine level, and then they've got some other space upstairs. They're renewing their lease for another 10 years. This has been negotiated between the landlord, who's here, Matt Maziel, who's the recent purchaser of the building, is here. The Board of Elections is here. Mr. Garavaglia and the Comptroller have been involved in this process. So the parties are all in agreement. The Board of Elections, the Board of Election Commissioners has seen this and approved it. So we're just here to approve their lease agreement. The committee sub outlines some tenant finish that landlord is going to provide to the election board. We wanted to clean some of that up and make sure it was included in the lease. It didn't make it over in the first draft. So that's all we're here to do, is to extend their lease for 10 more years.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on it besides yourself?
I don't think so, unless you have questions that are specific to those guys. I was trying to get in and out because I know you guys have a busy day.
Okay, we'll start with questions from the chair. Alderwoman Davis?
No questions.
All right. Alderman Moore?
Is there any more money involved than what it was the last?
I'll defer to Mr. Garavaglia on any rent increases.
Yes, the rent is, it was set last time, and it was set for the period of the last 5 years of the lease, and so there is about a 5% increase, and then, as you would see from the schedule, item number 2, this lease has some increases that go in every 2 years through the next 10 years. And so the short answer is yes, there are, but they're reasonable. For the type Class B structure that it is, the city is still getting value for the dollars that they're spending there.
Okay, I thought the Board of Election was a state agency.
Board of Elections is a state agency, but we are responsible for funding it.
So we pay the bill.
We pay the bills, that's correct.
Okay.
Any more questions? Alderman Moore?
I wasn't finished.
That's what I'm asking.
I'm finished.
Okay. All right, and we go to
I have no questions.
Alderman Vaccaro.
I have
No questions. Oh, no questions. I thought you said more questions. I
No
apologize.
questions. I'm
No
sorry.
questions. All right. From there, we go to Alderwoman Howard.
No questions.
All right. Alderwoman Boyd.
I do.
Okay.
I'm confused. I always was confused about the Board of Elections. It's a state agency, and we pay the bills. Why are
Correct.
we paying the bills and it's under the state?
I mean, I guess that would be consistent with every county in Missouri. Basically, it's, well, the big counties have election boards. They are appointed, those board commissioners are appointed by the governor. But the cost of the elections and their staff and equipment flows through the county, or in our instance, the city. Do you guys get any money from the state? Some grant money?
We get some grant money, and we also get, depending on the election and what's.
You'd have to come.
Yeah, if you step to the front.
Well,
and
Mr.
just
Capizzi,
put your name for the
You have
record.
to be on the
Take mine.
camera.
Steve Capizzi, Gary Stahl is here as well. I'm the Democrat director. So we do get some money via grants every year from the state, and we also get some money, depending on what's on the ballot. We could split elections any number of ways, depending on what is on the ballot, what other agencies are on the ballot. Like this, if the school board's on for an election, then we get a percentage of whatever the cost of that election is for that election.
Okay.
Okay?
That's real interesting to me. Okay, I'm still confused, trust me.
Okay.
That whole Board of Election situation, as you know, it has me confused, so, okay, thank you, Chair.
All right, no other questions?
I would make a motion to pass Board Bill
Second.
175, committee substitute out with due pass recommendation.
I might have had a question, but
Well, well, now there's a motion, so.
the last time I checked, I was running the meeting.
Motion.
Okay, so is this a straight 10-year lease, Mr. Gravai, with no five-year option, or is there a option at the end of 10 years?
10 year.
Okay, so no options whatsoever, all right. Okay, having answered that question, now we'll entertain a motion.
Okay, well, it's still out there. The motion was made and seconded, but to pass Board Bill 175, committee substitute out with due pass recommendation.
Okay, here's-
Second.
Second, all right, Mr. Golly, please take a roll, take a vote.
Alderman Volmer,
Aye?
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Moore. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. You have 6 aye votes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman,
Mr.
members of the
Coatar.
committee.
For you folks wondering, Alderwoman Navarro was not on the committee, she's just sitting here because she needed a chair.
I don't feel slighted.
All right. Alderman Roddy is here now, so we'll take up his bills. And we're starting with Board Bill 200.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I could perhaps address both of the board bills.
200 and 201?
Yeah,
Are they
because they're related, I
companions?
believe,
All right.
yes. We have been very fortunate in the 17th ward in that we've had a group of really motivated citizens for a number of years, and they have took the initiative a number of years ago to organize and create special taxing districts. This is one for the Central West End Southeast, which is, I guess the southeast edge of the West End. They have the specific boundaries in here. But it was due to mature and sunset, and so they're interested in adjusting the boundaries of it and I guess resetting the rate up. We have several people here that are in support of this, and was hoping that perhaps Ashley from Park Central, if you,
Actually, if you'd like to take the chair,
Yeah.
Mr. Alderman Roddy.
we have. Two of the commissioners are here, Jeff and Marshall, who are residents of the area, and actually, Mr. Boyd from the Treasurer's Office, wife is a commissioner as well, so it's, we've got a very much of a grassroots effort. The support of this over the years has been really very strong, and we've had a great difference it's made. We've, part of our theme or part of our branding of the Central West End was to make it, maybe I can stop for a minute and say, a number of years ago, we went ahead and we did a demographic analysis and realized that baby boomers were going to be, wanting to retire, and that we had a unique opportunity over there with the large number of condominiums and apartments that we had to create kind of a special environment for them. So we went out and we did focus group studies for the groups of them that were moving down there. And what they came back from the studies was that they were really looking for a different lifestyle when they got to a certain age, that apartment condominium lifestyle. And much of that revolved around the idea of walking, you know, the pedestrian environment. And so in order to have a good walking environment, you need to have a very safe environment, and it needs to be well lit. And so much of the resources that we've raised from this has gone to creating pedestrian lighting and augmenting the police services over there. And I would argue today that we've created probably the best pedestrian environment in the whole city, you know, in that neighborhood, and it's expanded around the Cortex area. Part of the strategy was the new Cortex stop that went in, and now that's spilling all the way over into the Forest Park Southeast neighborhood. And if you go down there, it's a remarkable thing to see the number of people that are walking along Euclid. Sarah now on the eastern end is really, the level of pedestrianism has increased dramatically. And it is actually spilling over Manchester. The pedestrianism on Manchester has exploded. The highest, I think, bike route in the city is now south of Cortex, extending down into Tower Grove neighborhoods. And so it's all coming together. I presume people saw yesterday's newspaper, the Great Rivers Greenway is now gonna come through, and that's gonna add a whole nother component of this. So I think you'll see probably one of the most, you know, biking, walking, alternative transit areas in the whole region will be in this area. And a huge part of that, going back a number of years now, has been the special taxing districts that we created, and the lighting and the additional security. Ashley is here, and she could talk to you a little bit about what the neighborhood has done. Of course, all of this is just gonna put it on the ballot, but Ashley, if you'd like to talk a little bit about the efforts and support that we've had for this.
Absolutely, and so, their funds has been mostly, allocated for safety and security services. Some of the recent successes was the 4400 block of West Pine. They installed new, pedestrian lighting at, of the price of $300,000. And so that revenue came from the special taxing district, in addition to some capital award dollars. And the neighborhood has been very happy to see those that lighting project go in. That particular block as well as several other blocks in that taxing district, the lighting is no lighting or very limited. And so when you're talking about condominiums and a lot of those residents being elderly and having to walk up and down those streets, it's not safe. And so the taxing district heard the wants and the needs of the community and began to mobilize to address those needs. In addition to lighting, they also are working with the Central West End Neighborhood Security Initiative to install cameras throughout the district. And those cameras has been played an instrumental role in apprehending, or at least providing the evidence needed to apprehend some bad actors in the neighborhood. And so that it's been overwhelmingly successful as well. And so the neighborhood continues to voice their support. This taxing district has been in existence several variations over 20 years. And so the neighborhood is very familiar with this district, and extremely in support of it. And our goal with the renewal is to begin to expand the services that this district can provide. So in addition to safety security, which will continue to be its main focus, other infrastructure projects and things of that nature, just to enhance the district and the neighborhood as a whole.
Do we have any questions of the sponsor or of Ashley while she's here? Alderwoman Davis?
No questions.
Alderman Moore?
Is there any administrative costs coming out of this?
Yes, yeah, and so there's the administrative cost to pay for the professional services, which includes the filing the reports with the state and the city and things of that nature. And then any other administrative costs such as lawyer fees, postage, staffing, basic staffing, needs.
Yes.
What about
I have
moonlight
to go
police?
also.
That's fine.
No.
No police?
So their safety and security budget covers those supplemental police officers. Those are the bike patrols that you tend to see.
And could you explain residential lighting for me?
Mhm. And so, on the 4400 block in particular, there were only the large, lighting structures, Cobra heads, and there were no pedestrian lights. And so, although the Cobra head provided some lighting in the streets, there were no lighting along the sidewalks. It was pretty much dark.
You got lights on the sidewalk?
So there's
What?
lower pedestrian lights to light up the sidewalks.
I need to come over there and see that. Sure, can you give me some of those?
For enough money, what are they running, 300,000 of them? Those are double blocks
So
over there, but it's.
they're built in the sidewalk.
No, are these like the aggregate poles, the old
Yep.
style?
Yeah, they're the old style lighting that are about maybe 12 feet or 15 feet.
Back when we were
used
kids
to
in the
throw
60s
bricks
before they
to
put the
break
Cobras in.
globes.
The ones you had to be home before
Yeah.
they turned off.
I know you didn't do that, Alderman, but.
Yeah, I used to throw bricks through them and break the globes. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Alderman Moore. Alderman Carl is called away. Alderwoman Howard?
We're just considering 200, right?
At this point, they're companion bills, but 200 is the one before us.
Okay.
Can you explain the difference, here I'm acknowledging my
I'm just gonna-
ignorance
I'm
in
gonna
front
ask
of a
that
whole room
question.
full of people here. Can you explain, I guess Dave's,
Craig,
Craig
yeah.
Easterfield
Yeah,
file.
he
Okay.
can take it.
Please take the hot seat, Craig.
You like a boosie.
So I guess what's Alderman Howard's question is the difference between Bill 200 and 201.
I think one, yeah, go ahead.
One
200
actually
is,
amends the ordinance that created the district, the other one puts it on the ballot,
Ballot
the
for
tax on
everyone.
the ballot.
All right.
okay.
And
Right
you
foot,
are,
left foot.
sir?
I'm Craig Biesterfeld with Lewis Rice. I'm legal counsel for the district.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman. And we have Alderwoman Boyd. Any
No
questions? No questions? Okay. I have no further questions.
I make a motion to do Board Bill 200 onto the
Second.
floor.
Okay,
with
we
the
have a
do pass
second.
recommendation.
Alderman Vaccaro, well, previous roll, hearing no objection. You can still take that? Yes, okay. All right, Board 200 is passed out. We now go to Board Bill 201. Do we need any further explanation? I don't. This is merely putting it on the ballot, is what this particular one does. All right. Any questions, Alderman Davis?
No.
Okay. Alderman Moore, any questions?
No question.
All right. Okay, Alderman Howard?
No.
All right, Alderwoman Murphy? I mean, I saw her, oh, she walked out. I'm getting, Alderwoman Boyd?
No
Any questions? All right, I have no questions with that. We'll entertain a motion for Board Bill 201.
I make a motion, we pass out.
All
Board
right,
Bill 201.
previous roll, hearing no
All right.
objection. Board Bill 201 is passed out. We
thank
will
you,
now-
Mr. Chairman, members of
Thank
the
you.
committee.
All righty. We'll now move to Board Bill 226, Alderwoman Navarro. You can take the head of the class.
Hey, Craig, how are you doing? Nice seeing you.
Okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, Alderman Navarro, proceed. Do you have any speakers with you today?
I do have Jared Boyd, is representative from the Treasurer's Office, and Beth Fitzsimmons from the Comptroller's Office are here to answer
All right.
any additional questions people might have.
Okay, well then please
Are you ready?
proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Board Bill 226 is a bill that will actually release funds from a successful TIF and channel them into our schools and into our city. So this is a success story. The Argyle TIF is in the Central West End, and it was to fund a redevelopment that included the Argyle parking garage along with some retail space, and it's really been transformational for that section of the neighborhood, spurring other residential growth and really helping boost that commercial corridor. And the TIF is set to expire in 2021. But it has been very successful. There's about a little over $11 million that has been collected and is sitting there largely in part, or part of that is due to the success of the Chase Park Plaza, which came off of about 30 years or so of abatement in 2017. So the revenue from that has been collected and it's sitting in this TIF. And so through a collaborative effort with the Treasurer's Office, Comptroller, we all would love to see this money released. And so I do have a handout here that the Comptroller's Office has prepared that has estimates of where this money could be distributed. So I'll pass one of these around. So what we are doing is essentially holding back funds that would be needed to pay off the remaining bonds and any other associated costs, and putting that in an escrow and then releasing the rest of it, so to the school districts, to the city's general revenue fund, as well as the other special funds that we have. And ideally, we would get this out the door before the end of this fiscal year, which would be extremely helpful. As you can see from the numbers, the estimates would be $3.5 million to the Board of Education. We're looking at about $2 million to go into the general fund. So this is, I think, a wonderful opportunity that we have to take advantage of the success of this redevelopment project.
Is there a need for any leadership or questions zoning? So we'll start with Alderwoman Davis. Any questions of Alderwoman Navarro or either of her experts?
Yeah, I just need to, I saw numbers in this bill, and then when I got this, I didn't see some of the other numbers that were here. So all I wanna do is just go through this document here.
And can I just clarify, Alderwoman, real quickly? This document is an estimate, so what we know is we know how much has been collected. We have to then figure out how it gets distributed based on the various percentages and how much is still to be kind of calculated in there. So these are estimates based on what we know is in the fund. And again, I've talked to this more, but those numbers aren't gonna line up perfectly. This sheet is just to give you an idea of how much we think once we go through untangling all of those and figuring out the percentages of where things go about what it's going to be.
Okay,
So
then
feel free to ask
that helps
questions.
me
I
a
just want
lot.
you to know that they're not gonna match up. This is just to
Okay.
give us an idea of what we're looking at.
Okay, that helps me a lot. I think this is great that you're taking the time for this discovery, and also taking the time to make sure that we had an appropriate alignment for these funds to go to. That's some of the things that have not happened in the past. And also, we probably have other opportunities sitting out there that nobody's paying attention to. So, thank you.
That be all?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Alderman Moore, any questions?
Yes, how long has this fund been going on?
The Argyle TIF started in 1997.
Where had the funds been going since before now?
Since before now. Well, they've been going in, so the project, it was a redevelopment project by the Treasurer's Office. And maybe I'll call, I don't know, Jared Boyd up here to answer any other.
You don't need Jared.
No, okay. It's a TIF that's being held by the Treasurer's Office. And so, and part of these funds are helping with bonds for other parking projects, other, I can't get into the details of all of those, but
Come on, Jared. We need.
I don't know how much detail.
Jared, if you like, take
you
the chair
want.
next to Alderman Navarro.
Sure, I will provide a very kind of basic overview of where the funds are flowing. The funds are flowing in part to pay off the bonds associated with the construction of the Argyle garage. And we've done a number of refunding, so only a portion of the Argyle bonds are eligible for those TIF funds. Now, as Alderwoman Navarro alluded to, there is far more money than is needed in that pot of revenue. And the question really comes down to whether or not we want to, whether or not we could terminate the TIF, which we could not do by law. So kudos to the Comptroller's Office, Alderwoman Navarro, and others who created a workaround that system so that we could get money back to the various taxing districts before 2021. So Long story short, the money is eligible to be paid off, eligible to be used to pay off the bonds that help fund the Argyle garage, but there's too much of that money.
So is part of it going to the general revenue fund now?
Absolutely, and
Well,
I believe
right.
law stipulates that the money has to kind of go in as it has to go back to the places that it came from, so it can't be appropriated, it has to go out in the percentages that it came in. So if the property, if, you know, $500,000 in property tax that was supposed to go to the school, that goes back to the school as opposed to having some leeway in saying that should go somewhere else.
Thanks, Jerry, you were good.
Thank you, I'm gonna leave on that note. No, but,
yeah, so all of this money is already allocated to the funds where it needs to go. It's not that we get to sit around and say, ooh, what do we wanna do? Now, the particular funds, you know, parks will get their funds. You know, there's a transportation fund, convention and tourism, they'll get the portion that they would have gotten if, you know, if it wasn't sitting in the TIF.
Okay. Any further questions, Alderman Moore?
No further questions.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
I thought Joe was finna.
I have none.
No questions from Alderman Vaccaro. Everybody make a note of that.
I didn't have any on the last one.
Well, you weren't here. All right, Alderwoman Howard, any questions?
I have one, just to put this in layman's terms. What you're doing is you're gonna pay off the bonds ahead of time, is that what we're doing?
we're setting aside money
Money
that
to pay
could
them off
and satisfy our bond trustee so that we can actually go forward with releasing money.
as scheduled,
Yes.
rather than paying them off early.
Yes, we
Okay.
can't, we're not allowed by law to pay them
Pay
off
them off
early.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we're doing is we're taking the money that would be allocated and refunded through the TIF, because the TIF is finished?
No, so this TIF is still gonna go until 2021. But what we're doing is we're setting aside the money that we think we're gonna need to continue to pay off those bonds. So
Right.
that is being set aside in a fund. The rest of it, we're saying we're not gonna need to pay off those bonds, so we're gonna release that to these entities.
So we're taking the money out and we're going to return all of this, which totals, I'm not sure, I'm seeing over $3 million.
So this is, so there's the first column is, let's see, what is the second one?
What's
say?
available now.
It's first year and second year, is what's in there now, okay, right, yes, okay, so the first one
Say
is
that
what's in
again.
there now.
I didn't hear what you
This is
said.
just kind of
A TIF
estimate.
runs on a calendar year,
I-
so this is,
Beth
this
Fitzsimmons.
number
We need
is
to
from the
announce who you are.
comptroller's office.
Thank you.
I'm Beth Fitzsimmons, I'm the deputy
Sorry.
comptroller.
Remember, this is all going on YouTube, so smile and have fun.
Okay, so,
I got you.
the first column is the, what's currently in there through calendar year 18, okay?
Okay.
It's our allocation is, you take out the base based on the calendar year, so it's not in a fiscal year. So the first column is that. The next is, we have to collect the money as if the TIF is active. So we'll pick up the taxes, move it to where they're supposed to go, and then release them after that point. So it's bookkeeping, basically, but basically, the money will just come in, go back out to them. And that the second column is 3 years' worth. That's not each year, that is 3 years' worth of what my estimate is that will be coming through.
Okay, so that's the total over 3 years.
A full 3 year, the next, because we'll still
The
have to
second
do
column.
19, 20, and 21 calendar years to get it through.
Because
So
the
the
TIF
first
is-
column, we're getting
It's there now.
approximately $7 million to be returned to various funds.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then it will continue to collect, because we're not terminating the TIF, this TIF is still there. And so so what Bev has done is said, so once, this is what we project will come in for the next few years, and then we will turn that back over. But
Okay,
right
and
now,
at
we're
the
dealing
end-
with this lump sum right now.
At the end, and because that's just been sitting there collecting.
The
lump
first
sum.
column has been sitting there, probably it's about 2.5 years worth of special allocation fund that is sitting there that we were able to accumulate the amount of money we need. A big help was that the parking division did refinance, I believe in 17,
When
and
the
then
rates
that
were-
helped us a lot too, because their refinancing caused us not to owe anything in that year. We do not pay the full amount of debt because of the operating costs. The operating surplus goes first, and we're the next layer of this debt that goes out. But since they combine it with this refinancing and things, it kind of gave us that extra little boost beyond.
So we're returning about $7 million, or $7 million to various funds that the city
Right,
owes.
well,
So this will be
right,
sort of a
it's
windfall.
throughout the next 4 years, yes, 7 million, if you're adding the two columns together. The cities is just the 3 million one and the 3 million five number.
Okay, but I'm saying that we'll count in the Board of Education what they.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure, if you're going back through the, if you
And
count
what
them
is
as
the
cities.
other?
Other are the other entities that are within your
Convention,
property
tourism, and-
taxes, your
Oh,
sewer, library, you know,
Okay,
et cetera,
those.
et cetera.
Okay.
Junior college, all that stuff.
Okay, okay. Okay, well, that's
It's a
incredible.
good deal.
That's
Yeah,
a good
really.
deal. Okay, well, thank you. This maybe will allow us to put some money aside and have a little cushion in the city
Hopefully,
budget.
we always like to increase our fund balance.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Murphy.
No, asked and answered,
All right.
so I'm fine.
Okay, Alderwoman Boyd, you're next.
And this might not even be relevant, I was just asking, with this money, is it interest collected off of this? Is it anywhere interest
No.
is collected from it sitting
No.
for time? Okay. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. So this is being doled out over a three-year period, and no one's just gonna come down with big checks and start handing them out.
Well, this year we'll
This year-
dole
this
out.
year have a
This
win-
year will hit
be the
this
windfall?
fiscal year.
All right, okay, all right, very good,
Yeah, and the next one divided by 3 and.
very good, very good, all right. Okay,
I make a motion
entertain one, make a motion.
to pass Board Bill 226 with a due pass recommendation.
Second?
Previous roll.
Well, I wasn't here for.
Well, previous
I
roll,
wasn't
because
here.
Alderman
I
Murphy was
wasn't
not
here.
here either, so, Mr. Golly, please call the roll.
We had to go over and for another meeting.
Chairman Bowler,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Moore, Alderman Vaccaro, Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. You have 7 aye votes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Passed out Board Bill 226, with a due pass recommendation. Alderman Howard, you have the bill here?
I do.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Board Bill 229, Alderman Howard.
Can I grab your copy of 228?
Legislation.
Does legislation still happening?
It's probably almost over.
Oh, that's Brenda Bowers.
And then public safety. Public safety is
Brandon's doing public safety.
Legislation's going on right now.
All right.
I'm actually the chairman.
Yeah, he's like, stop on the
Well, that bill cleared the room. Okay.
Yeah, should already have it first.
All right. Alderman Howard, you have a guest speaker with you, it looks like?
I have a few.
All righty.
We can't pass. And she can't do that.
If you'd like to
We
proceed.
told her that when we talked to her,
I would.
and they pulled him to the side.
You have before you Board Bill 229. It is to amend City Ordinance 48889 to allow the city to collect additional revenue back. The history behind this is back, I guess, in the 50s.
Right, so Noah Gonzalez from the mayor's
Noel,
office.
we'll kind of give the background, but we're gonna take away a discount we gave to cigarette smokers back in the 50s when it was good to smoke.
Remember, it was healthy back
That's what
then.
9 out of 10 doctors prefer Chesterfield.
Right,
And
so,
Winston tasted good, like a cigarette.
so the city enacted the cigarette occupation tax way back when. And they allowed for a certain percentage discount of the tax. So back then, I believe it was 7%. It was amended to 5% a couple decades ago. But we're still giving this 5% discount to cigarette wholesalers. So the current tax is set at $3.50 per 1,000 cigarettes, which amounts to about a 7-cent tax per pack. So the 5% discount, very, very small, probably amounts to about half a cent per pack discount. But if we repeal it, we would be generating an estimated about $4,000 a year in additional revenue.
Okay.
Seems like an easy.
Okay. Any further explanation at that point? We'll start with Alderwoman Davis.
I have no questions, Mr. Sickles. I have no
All
questions.
right, thank you very much. We'll go to Alderman Moore.
It hasn't sunk in yet. I still got smoke coming out of my ears.
No
I-
questions.
I
Alderman
have-
Carl.
I do have questions.
Yes.
So, it's gonna hit $1.73 a pack of cigarettes?
No,
No, that's what the national
no,
average
that's what
is.
national average tax
much-
on cigarettes is
So how
$1.73
much is this
a
gonna
pack.
add to a pack of cigarettes?
About a half cent per pack.
Yes, sir.
So a half cent per pack,
Right.
and a carton, so, you know.
There's what,
that's
20 to a
what, dime
carton,
or
so
something?
maybe
10
10
cents.
cents on a
You
carton.
know, 10 cents on a carton. I mean, it just.
No, I'm sorry. It would add to a carton of cigarettes, repealing the 5% would add less than half a cent. To
A
the-
carton or a
A
pack?
carton. Well, is the carton not the same as
A
pack?
carton.
No.
Oh, I'm
Pack
sorry.
is-
Really know nothing about
Pack.
smoking.
You can tell he never smoked.
He never smoked.
A pack of
A pack.
cigarettes
Good
is
for
20
you.
cigarettes, a carton is 10 packs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So for the carton,
like
how
that.
much?
So 10 times a half, 5 cents per carton.
But 5%, I'm real confused. You're saying 5%?
A 5% discount, we're eliminating the 5% discount on the 7 cents per pack tax.
Okay, Chairman, can I hear
I think,
I guess I just have problems, because, I mean, even though it's very little, and although my wife smokes, you know, a lot of times, I think, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like the people who can least afford to smoke anyway, but, you know, they put these, I know it's not much, I get it, but I know they put increases on the ballot before and it fails, and there's a reason it fails. I get what you're trying to do, and I understand what it would probably generate. What do you estimate? Probably generate a lot of money.
$80,000 a year,
You know, but,
a job.
and I don't smoke, and after heart bypass surgery, I don't recommend anybody else smoke, but I can't support any tax increase, you know, that's just my problem. I think even though you're talking, you know, 10, 20 cents, and if you smoke a carton a week, you know, I mean, it could cost an average smoker somewhere, you know, I don't know.
20 cents a week.
Yeah, 20 cents, well,
Yeah, because you know, the average smoker smokes a carton a week. And so a carton is gonna increase by 20 cents.
5 cents.
So it'll cost them
No,
20
5
cents.
cents.
5 cents a carton.
There's only,
Less, 5 cents a carton.
there's 10 packs in a carton.
So it's a half a cent a
Half a
pack?
cent per pack.
Oh, so it's 5 cents
5 cents a
a
carton.
carton. Oh,
So, and
we
and
good,
here's
we
the
good.
thing, here's,
I get
here's,
that.
An
here's
increase
the
of
other.
5 cents a
I
week.
think that it's probably
Okay.
gonna pass, and
I thought it
I'm
was
just,
more than that.
Okay,
I
well,
don't-
no, I
I
just
can't
wanna
support
explain something
tax.
to you also, that in talking to, Mr. Grant, many of the wholesalers are probably already charging this because the tax is an uneven tax, so they probably round it up anyway, and they're probably collecting it. We kinda decided possibly they might be collecting some of this anyway, I don't know.
I'm not quite sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Come on,
Leroy Grant representing On the Run.
you gotta be on the camera.
here.
Leroy Grant representing On the Run franchise. We really have no issue concerning the tax. We just wanted to understand the impact that it would have on our customers. And of course, the wholesaler, I'm sure, will be passing the cost on to the consumer, whatever that amount may be. So.
I didn't really know other question, I just,
Okay.
my problem is I'm not,
Okay.
the voters keep voting it
All right,
down.
you stated your point, all right.
It's all right.
Okay. Alderwoman Howard, you're on there, so I think you asked all your questions. Alderwoman Murphy.
No questions. I understand it is a slight increase, and as a farmer smoker, I will say that one of the reasons I decided to quit, or made up my mind to quit, was as the prices went up. You realized how ridiculous it was as the prices went up. So it was a great motivation for me to actually stop, years ago now, but still, it was a great motivation, so I'm in favor of this, yes.
All right. Alderman Boyd?
No questions.
Okay. I have no questions. You may.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Go ahead.
Where does this extra money go?
So it would go to the general fund.
General revenue?
Yep.
General revenue got a lot of money to be broke all the time. Everything was general revenue today.
Well, it's not in yet, so, We'll know on the next
All of us gets it all.
that's right.
Okay.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Alderman Moore. All right, Alderwoman, you may close.
I would like for the committee to consider this as a way to bring in a little bit of additional revenue to the general fund and to possibly, add a little bit of a more healthy atmosphere and not have the city contributing to a bad and unhealthy habit.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we pass Board Bill 229 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
All right. Okay, Mr. Galley, you may call the roll.
Alderman Bulmer,
I'm
Aye.
sorry.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Moore,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
No.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. You have 6 aye votes and 1 no vote.
All right, with that, we pass Board Bill 229 out with a due pass recommendation.
Is that starting over there?
All right, Board Bill 228, which is my bill. I'll be hearing from this end of the table if there's no objections to that. We have cameras on both ends now with modern technology. We don't have to dance and do that. If you would like to. We have a representative from Lewis Rice who looks better than Mr. Sweeney and dresses much better. So if you introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Missy McCoy with Lewis Rice.
What we're doing here is this is a SID we did for La Colina, which is the $70 million project on the hill. The SID has been passed and set up. We need to go back and change one word.
Yes.
Since we have the home builder signed up, this is the cause of this.
Correct.
McBride and Sons has been hired to contract you to build 54 single-family homes.
Yes.
So with that, there was a discrepancy with one word. We're going to add one word. The word is evenly. And if you could, let Missy take it from this point, and she can describe why this is being done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alderman. So when we had originally passed the petition this fall, sometime in October, we had included in there the special assessment amounts. If you recall, it's a special assessment community improvement district. So the area has been tax abated, and then the new homes that are being constructed there will have a special assessment that will, the funds that are received from that will go back to fund the improvements the developer's making to remediating some blight and to construct things such as streets and infrastructure and things like that. So in the original petition, we had included how the special assessment would be allocated among different areas within the community improvement district property. And so there are 3 classes of property, an A, a B, and a C. And so in discussions with McBride as the developer of the homes, they were concerned that it wasn't clear enough how the assessment would be allocated to each home that was being built in the SID area. And so we went back and revised the petition to include the word evenly to just clarify that the total amount of special assessment for each area would be evenly distributed among the lots that are located in the area. And then we also included a table that showed the per lot amount that would be charged for each lot in the area. So I don't know that you guys have copies of the revised petition, so I'm gonna pass out some of those that include some color red lines that show the changes that were made to what was originally approved. So here are those, if you'd like to take a look.
So is this a committee substitute?
Well, no, this bill has already been passed.
Yes, the Community Improvement District was approved and passed this fall, I think in October or November. And so anytime you want to amend a Community Improvement District, or the petition that formed it after formation, you have to go back through the entire process. So hold a public hearing, submit the petition to the city register. So it's kind of a, so in order to make the change, we couldn't just do it on our own. It's something that we had to come back and let everyone see and understand, even if it's as simple as just adding one word. But just to be clear, the total amount of special assessment has not changed at all. So there was no increase in that. It's really just a matter of clarifying what was there before and making sure that, you know, when people purchase these homes, that they understand what the special assessment is, how much it will be for their home, so there aren't issues later on when, you know, they begin to be charged the special assessment. We didn't want any controversy on why or how much or anything like that.
Okay. With that, we will entertain questions. Alderwoman Davis?
I was just looking at the schedule of increase.
And it's kind of a graduated schedule, so for the first few years, it rises slightly. So we didn't want to hit these new homeowners with the full amount of a projected assessment in the first year of their home ownership. So it's lower in, I think, the first 3 years, and then gradually increases up.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. The community and the homeowner, that's a personal decision when it comes to being a part of a community that has assessments.
Correct.
And so I'm not opposed to it.
All right. With that, we'll move on to Alderman Moore.
You repetition all the signatures?
Yes, so with this property, there's actually one single property owner that owns all of the property in the district, and it's the property owner that's doing the construction and has been, involved and on board with the project the entire time. So there's only one property owner, but yes, we had them go ahead and re-execute the amended petition.
Sam, this is an 11-acre lot that was all old factories that were vacant and full of crackheads and homeless people. We took a 2 or 3 year process through the neighborhood, trying to fit the best development we could into there. Draper and Kramer are the developers. They've actually got to the point where they've torn down everything, reclaimed the soil, and they are now getting ready to put sewers and infrastructure into the ground. So currently there are no residents. They're hoping to have foundations come out of the ground in late spring, early summer, and start going up. But it's just getting the.
In the words of Freeman Bowser, it's in your water.
Thank you, sir. All right. With that, we'll move on to Alderman Vaccaro.
Yeah, I'm gonna support it. It's not, I'm not, but I really hate getting a piece of paper. That's why we even did the rule on the committee substitutes, that to read through this and make an intelligent decision. I'm gonna trust it.
Yeah, because it was a bill that's passed, the original bill that we actually passed was passed out of this committee last fall. It's the same bill, we're merely adding a word to the bill, and I believe it passed unanimously out of the committee back then when I.
Well, I'm gonna support it, because I'm sure you've done your homework.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah, if I felt there was a problem, yeah, okay.
I don't like something being
Okay.
put in front of me, but I'm supporting you. I would hope you don't.
No, it's merely just dotting an I and crossing a T. All right, Alderman Murphy, Alderman Howard, sorry.
I know we looked at this before, and I guess the only thing I have question, and it's just for clarity, is that this will only apply to the single-family homes?
That's correct.
Okay, and the apartments will be a separate class?
So yes, the apartments are, if you have, with the sheet that you have in front of you, the apartments are the multifamily class, so they're the ones in the far right. And that total amount is for one parcel of, considering the apartment project, the apartment piece as one single parcel. So Draper and Kramer will continue to own the apartment parcel, and then they will be responsible for paying that amount that's in the far right column.
We'll have no.
Well, that'll be
Yes.
divided among,
Yes.
they won't have a separate.
No.
No, no.
And then I don't know, I'm just asking.
Oh, sure.
Does Draper and Kramer own the whole plot right now?
Currently, they do, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and so they'll be selling those off as they're developed by
As
McBride?
McBride,
or-
yes, that's
okay.
correct.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, I just was kind of, a little bit of clarity here. Okay, I'm fine,
All
that's
right.
all I needed to know.
Alderman Murphy.
Yeah, I guess another point of clarity, as people buy these plots, they will be made aware of this, gradual increase, aside from we're all used to the property taxes going up, but
Right.
they will be made
Yes.
aware of this specific amount.
So we've discussed, or Draper and Kramer and McBride have discussed, potentially having something recorded to be clear that this exists. And what'll happen, and what typically happens when you purchase a home, you get, a title report that has certain things that affect your home. A lot of times, you'll have ordinances. If you live in the city, there are always ordinances that affect your house. And so these ordinances will pop up as things that affect your home, and so these will be listed. And I think my understanding as well is that McBride is going to be very clear with these homeowners that this exists, that it's there, and that, your property taxes are going to be very, very low because the property as a whole is tax abated, but instead, there's a special assessment that you will pay for the first 10 years that you own your home.
That's all, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Boyd.
No questions.
All right. With that, we'll be closing. I hope, again, this wasn't meant to be a last minute, spur of the moment thing. This is was first read, and we have not changed anything from the first reading, so it's been available. And it is merely clarifying something that was passed unanimously out of here last fall. With that, I will ask for your favorable consideration towards Board Bill 228.
I make a motion to pass Board Bill 228 out of committee with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
Not hearing so, we will pass this out. I appreciate everyone. Meeting adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we better.
I was so happy about it.
Yeah, he's so happy.
Okay, do we need?
Previous roll.
Well, I mean, does anybody vote?
Oh, Joe voted no on the previous roll, so we'll
Oh,
take,
yes.
Mr. Galley, please take the roll. I apologize for my wanting to get up.
Chairman Ballmer?
Oh, myself?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. Alderwoman Davis?
Aye.
Alderman Moore?
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro?
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard?
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy?
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd?
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad? You have 7 aye votes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so here's what we pass this out. The do pass recommendation. Anyone? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank everyone for being present today.
All right.